Hey guys, Sean Media just want to do a big shout out to Rugby League Coffee Lounge. All the best this year, 2020.
Alright, oh, yeah! Fuck! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Sunday Football Review for round 17 of the 2023 NRL season. We saw 3 games of football today. We saw the Titans upset the Broncos up at Suncorp Stadium there, 18 points to 12. We saw my boys, the mighty North Queensland Cowboys, go down to Accor Stadium in Sydney and destroy the Rabbitohs 31 points to 6. A very convincing win from the Cowboys. And then the Canberra Raiders upsetting the Roosters from Allianz Stadium. All the underdog teams were victorious today. The Gold Coast were paying $4 to beat Brisbane. The Cowboys were $2.70 to beat the Rabbits, and the Raiders were $2.30 to beat the Roosters. So, upset day if you're on the punt. If you picked all them teams to win today, you must be feeling like a rich man at the moment. But holy shit, what a crazy Sunday of football. I thought today was a fantastic day of rugby league. I really do. Lots of surprises, lots of things that you wouldn't have expected to happen that went to plan. It was just a crazy day. Lots of surprise results. The one that surprised me the most was probably my own team. Like, yeah, the Titans beating the Broncos, it is a surprise and it's a big upset. But for the Cowboys to go down to Sydney and win at Accor Stadium like that, 31-6, without Jason Taumalolo, says something about the way the Cowboys are going at the moment. We're in great form. 3 wins in a row. We're now in 10th on the ladder, so we're looking like we're going to get back in that top 8 real soon if we keep winning games. But, wow, what a day. Gold Coast over Brisbane, didn't see that coming. It was very controversial, though. There was a couple of decisions that I thought were very dodgy. The no try to Reece Walsh for that so-called obstruction was a complete outrage. David Fifita has taken diving lessons. And then you had the no try to Corey Oates off the scrum, where they said Walsh threw the ball forward, which I still find that ridiculous. But anyway, welcome to the Sunday Football Review. If you're new around here, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and sit back and enjoy the Sunday Football Review. Hello to the live chat as well. Hope you guys are well. We got CJ Moxley in the chat, and yes, shout out to CJ Moxley. Rabbitohs versus Cowboys, always good entertainment. Well done, mate. Obviously, didn't go well for South, but all the best for the rest of the season. Respect to you as well, my friend. Hello to Liam Pritchard, Viking King, Jason Raider, Pro Enzo Vids. Hello, Pro Enzo. SS Storm fan. Hello, everyone that is here. Make sure to tune into the review. All right. A little bit to go over tonight. I am doing the review on my own, but I won't take too much of your time tonight, fellas. We'll just get into the review. And hello to Devils_side that's now here as well. We'll go back to the Broncos-Titans game. We'll touch on it quickly. A really scrappy Queensland derby between these two sides. I thought the Broncos were really poor. I don't believe the Broncos were at their best at all. They were far from it. Yeah, pretty scrappy game, man. It wasn't the best game of football by any means. I thought Brisbane really played poor. Their attack just wasn't all there. And I think the Broncos probably should have done what Penrith did. They probably should have rested all their Origin players. Reece Walsh should have had a rest. Cobbo didn't even look fit. Cobbo coming back from an injury, probably shouldn't have played. He should have came back next week against the Dolphins. I thought Payne Haas backing up was expected and fine, but the Gold Coast, who sacked Justin Holbrook earlier in the week, they had an interim coach come in, and the Gold Coast looked like a whole different team. Their defense looked a lot better. They looked like a much better outfit than they did without, when Holbrook was there. They looked a lot better, which was quite strange to see. You don't see interim coaches turn it around all that often. The Gold Coast did well, but in saying that, the Broncos were really poor. So it's one of those things where, did the Broncos make the Titans look great, or were the Broncos just poor and the Titans took advantage of it? For me, I think it's a bit of both. Tries in the Broncos game, Flugler got the first try, which was just surprising, as God knows what that was paying. Ezra Mann got one as well. And for the Gold Coast, tries to Brian Kelly, David Fafita, and Khan Pereira. The Khan Pereira try was very impressive. Just burnt Cobbo for speed down that wing. And yeah, obviously there was a couple of really bad decisions. The obstruction. I am struggling to understand how that was obstruction. Like, you go back and watch it. Fafita makes the defensive decision and he collides with the Broncos player. There is absolutely no way in the world Fafita's getting across there anyway. Even if he doesn't collide, he ain't getting there. So once again, the obstruction rule and the common sense factor did not have. There was no common sense. It was ridiculous. And then the other one, which was a 50-50, I guess you could say, with about 8 minutes to go. Reece Walsh hit a short ball to Oates, and I thought Oates scored, and it was about to be 18-16 Brisbane, but they ended up calling it a forward pass. I've gone back and looked at it, and I've seen worse forward passes this season that have been given tries. I mean, you go to that Roosters Raiders game for a minute. Hopowate's try, that was about 10 metres forward. The pass from Walsh to Oates was definitely more backwards than that. So just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Overall, I thought the Broncos-Titans game was very, very mediocre. Both teams did not look good at all. The Gold Coast did well to win, but I don't know, man. They did it without Tino, which was pretty impressive. So I don't know. Maybe there's a bit of resume from the Gold Coast. Who knows? But they did well to win the game today, so good on them. As for the Broncos, definitely a reality check. They need to bounce back next week against the Dolphins. That'll be a big game. Obviously beat the Dolphins earlier this season. Dolphins have been thumped the last 2 weeks. So I think you'll see a different Dolphins team next week, and I think the Broncos will be a lot better next week. The Broncos are horrible today. My man of the match from the Broncos and Titans game, look, I think you can't go past David Fafita. I thought David Fafita was probably the best player on the field, scored that try. He set up the one to Brian Kelly as well. And the Khan Pereira try, I think Fafita was involved in that as well. So, look, I'll give Fafita the man of the match, but yeah, not a good day for the Broncos. Not a great game overall. Pretty scrappy. Let's go to the next game. One that I'm very pleased about, as I'm sure you guys can all understand. Rabbitohs versus Cowboys. Holy shit. Cowboys 31, Rabbitohs 6. Now, going into this game, I knew the Cowboys had a bit of momentum. I knew that we were looking a lot better. I knew things were starting to turn around, and I was very pleased with how we've gone since the Melbourne game, where we put a score on them with 45-20. Then we had the bye. They knocked off Penrith last week in Golden Point, and off that Drinkwater try. And then today, to play South Sydney. Now, South Sydney were without Latrell Mitchell and Jai Arrow, but you got to remember as well, The Cowboys were without Jason Taumalolo. I don't think people understand how important Jason Taumalolo is to the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys have got this thing where they have learnt to play without Taumalolo and win without him. But you just go back to that Penrith game last week, and if Taumalolo doesn't play against Penrith last week, we probably don't beat Penrith. So Taumalolo is a very important part of the side, but then you look at all the young forwards that are stepping up, guys like Ruben Cotter, guys like Jeremiah Nanai, guys like Leilua, guys like Fini Fuiaki. How good's he going, Fini Fuiaki? Absolutely killing it. Griffin Name stepping up to the plate. Hess is doing his job. You got guys like McLean and Tunell Brown who are ripping in. Granville. You know, all the forwards are stepping up without Taumalolo. And for the Cowboys to go down to Sydney and to really give it to the Rabbitohs like that definitely tells me, and it shows me, it convinces me that the Cowboys are definitely back to what they were last year. They are a much better team than what they were six to 8 weeks ago. We're not the same team that got beat by 60 by the Tigers. This is a different Cowboys team right here. They are as healthy as they can be. Next week, Taumalolo does return against the Tigers, and the Cowboys will be full strength for next week. Our strongest 17 is on the park next week. Now, I know there's a few rumours that we might rest a few of our Origin players. I don't think we should. Because you think about it, we've got, what have we got? We got the bloody Tigers, then we got the bye, and then we got Manly. I wouldn't take the Tigers cheap and rest too many Origin players. I wouldn't mind resting maybe 1 or 2, but I wouldn't rest too many, man. I think the Tigers game's a very important game. It's in Townsville. After what they did to us earlier this season, we definitely want to get some revenge. So, very important that we play as a very strong team next week. Now, I was very surprised with how bad Souths were. I was very surprised. I thought the first half of this Rabbitohs-Cowboys game was an absolute cracker. It was back and forth for 30 minutes straight. Both teams had great goal line defense. Souths bombed a few chances on that left side and on that right side as well. Campbell Graham was close a few times, along with Richard Kenner. And Ilias ran a couple of good runs, which looked dangerous. And then they went that left side again, Cody Walker and looking dangerous, trying to get Johnson over. Defensively, I was a little bit nervous about that. But overall, our defense, it really stood up. It was really solid. Murray Taulanga scoring that first try off that beautiful ball from Dearden was outstanding. 4-0 for the Cowboys early on. And then right on half-time, really, with about 5 seconds to half-time, there was tackle 5. There was nothing on for us. Drinkwater just went, fuck it, just go for a field goal. 5-0 at half-time. Has there ever been a score at half-time of 5-0 in the NRL era? Like, I'm not talking about 1992 and going back to the 80s. Has there ever been a 5-0 scoreline at halftime in an NRL game in the NRL era? I don't even think there has. Someone let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe someone's got the stat. I don't know. But 5-0 at halftime, and then second half was phenomenal. Valentine Holmes scoring a double, going up 17-0. And then South's got that one try back for Ilias, and I'm like, oh, shit, all right. That's where we had to be really careful. 17-6 Cowboys, and I thought to myself, it's only a 2-try game for Souths, still 20 to go. We just got to be careful here. We got to try and slow down the momentum, try and control the middle third of the field. And I was a little bit worried, man, at 17-6. Souths, that next set, they ended up getting they got right to halfway. And I think Bird just knocked the ball on. And that really hurt them. And then I think we got a penalty, maybe even the next set. So then it was 19-6. And then there was a try to Fini Fuiaki, who hit off a beautiful short ball, I might add. Ran a good line. He come off the bench for Leilua, who needed a rest. Fini Fuiaki went straight through. 25-6 Cowboys. And then the There was a knock on from, it might have been Taff or it might have been Tassels, one of the two, I think, or someone like that. And then didn't pick the ball up and scored. 31-6 ends up being the final score, which is just crazy to think. Like, I think a lot of people are going to start talking about the Cowboys again now. Like, you don't just, like, you look at the Cowboys, you don't beat Melbourne 45-20 in Townsville. Then you beat obviously you beat Penrith with a lot of players out, and we had a lot of players out as well. And then you go to Sydney and beat a Latrell Mitchell-less Southside 31-6. You can't tell me it's a fluke. You can't tell me this Cowboys run the last couple of weeks has been a fluke. There's definitely something there. I know last year we were top 4 and things were outstanding, but what we've been able to do the last couple of weeks, there's nothing flukish or, there's nothing flukish about what the Cowboys are doing at the moment. They're playing a great brand of footy. They have found their rhythm. And as Gus Gill said a few weeks ago, at full strength, there's no reason why this team can't win the comp. I know the Cowboys did concede 50. I know that record is a thing, but you got to remember as well, records are going to break eventually. There's been some over the years that have broken. You have a look at teams' records at certain stadiums. The records are going to break at some point. It's going to happen. It's like grand final droughts. Sharks broke their 50-year drought. There's going to be the droughts are going to break eventually. These streaks, records, and shit. So I think the Cowboys are a chance of winning this whole thing this season. I think the Sharks are still thereabouts as well, even though they've also considered 50. The comp is so close. Anyone can beat anyone on a given day. You just don't know what's going to happen. But honestly, as a Cowboys fan, I was very surprised by this scoreline. I was confident that we could win, but I didn't think it'd be like this. South Sydney are probably one of the best teams to play. I mean, South Sydney are one of the best day teams in the competition. They don't lose day games very often. And to go down to a core stadium and beat them like that was very impressive. So I'm very impressed. I'm very surprised what I saw today. I thought we were outstanding. Scott Drinkwater needs to be praised to the moon. He is having a phenomenal season. Drinkwater is the most influential player in the Cowboys at the moment. His attack is just amazing. Valentine Holmes, without a doubt, he is the best center in the game right now. There's no doubt about it. Valentine Holmes is on fucking fire. Another 2 tries again today. Up against Campbell Graham, who is a world-class center himself. I'm just proud of the lads at the moment, just where we've come from. You know, have a look at the ladder, man. Like, we're fucking 10th. We're 8-8. We're technically in the 8 because we've only had 1 bye. If you have a look at the ladder, from 6th to 9th, it's all on 20 points. And then from 10th to 12th, it's all 18 points. Then you got Manly on 17 points. It's just crazy. Seriously, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. From 4th to 12th, separated by 2 games. Like, that's just ridiculous, man. The ladder is so crazy right now. South Sydney are in 8th. They were like 2nd like 3 weeks ago. It's a crazy season, man. They're 9-7. Absolutely crazy. Viking King in the chat with the donation. Drought meant to be broken. 2023 grand final winners, Canberra Raiders. Viking King, thank you for the $12 super chat. And yes, Canberra haven't won a grand final since 1994, so they do have a drought to break as well. But all the best, Viking King. Canberra now go to 5th. That's crazy shit. That's crazy. This ladder is absolutely insane. Yeah, it's crazy how you win 2 games and you're back with the ladder. Yeah, South's at 8th, bro. South's at 8th. Look at the ladder. The NRL ladder right now on my mobile phone says Panthers, Broncos, Storm, Warriors, Raiders, Eels, Sharks, Rabbitohs. The Sharks at the bye. And then it goes Titans, Cowboys, Dolphins, Roosters, Manly, Knights, Dragons, Dogs, Tigers. The ladder is crazy at the moment, man. Anyway, we'll move on. Cowboys, phenomenal performance. One of the best of the season. We're at full strength, practically. I'm just impressed with how we're going. So, man of the match from the Cowboys-Rabbitohs game. You've got to give it to Scott Drinkwater. Drinkwater is killing it at the moment. Drinkwater, player of the game. And the final game, Roosters and the Raiders. What a game this was. Raiders 20, Roosters 18. The Roosters. I have so many questions for the Sydney Roosters. I do not even know where to begin. First thing I'm going to ask them is, what is going on with them? I know they've got injuries, but every team's got bloody injuries. Like, seriously, you had Joseph Manu go back into the centres. Had a good game, scored 2 tries, but doesn't pass the ball. Tedesco. What the hell is happening to James Tedesco? Tedesco's confidence and form at the moment is very poor. He is in all sorts. I've never seen Tedesco play this poorly. Even at the Tigers, Tedesco was playing better than this. This is crazy. Tedesco is having a horrible run of form. I hope he turns it around because he's having a shocker at the moment. And then you have a look at the halves, Keary and Smith. Sending Smith. Again, it's a new combination. It's still gelling. I thought Keary today was pretty average. I thought Smith was probably the better of all the 2 halves. Lindsay Collins just continues to be the Roosters' best player every single week. Turpin, I think he's doing a good job at the moment. Obviously, it didn't help them losing to Tili Tupanua, but you know, they still got Angus Crichton and Egan Butcher there. They did lose Egan Butcher, though, which didn't help them. Yeah, I don't know. Angus Crichton didn't even finish the game off as well. He went off with an injury as well. It's just crazy to see the Roosters playing this bad. It really is. Canberra, for me, the Canberra Raiders, for me, can consider themselves fairly lucky to win. They did win 20-18. They did lead the game 18-0 at one point. 18-6 lead at halftime for the Raiders. And then after that, the Roosters just come flying home. 20-12 Canberra. Canberra, they've got this habit where they get out to a lead and then they let the other team get back in the contest. And then they just manage to either hold on or they lose. The Canberra Faders little trend that we saw a lot of last year and a little bit of this year as well. They just got to try and put 2 halves of football together. I thought they were pretty lucky to win tonight, the Raiders. The Roosters, they bombed a few chances. Obviously, the tries in the game where Whiten got 1, Hopewade got 1, Tomago got 1. And for the Roosters, tries to Manu got 2 tries. Collins got 1 as well. I will say this, the Albert Hopewade try, Jesus Christ, touch judges do not do anything, do they? They are nothing but statues. The Hopewade try was an embarrassment for me. That was a metre forward. But I think what really cost the Roosters in the end was conceding an 18-0 lead early on. To concede 18 points and then try to make a comeback and try and win the game it's tough to do. I know there's a lot of Roosters fans online that are, especially on Twitter, man. On Twitter, they are going for it. And on Facebook in the comment section as well, on a few pages. They are saying robbed, we're ripped off. Referee cost us the game. Hopewade try, robbed us. I think what really robbed the Roosters was, yes, I agree there were some bad calls against the Roosters, but I think what really cost them was the 18-0 deficit. If you're going to give up an 18-0 lead at home and you get run down by 2 to 4 and you lose by 2 to 4 points, that's your own fault. Don't blame the referee. Put 2 halves of football together. Don't fucking come out in the second half and have a good little 10, 15-minute period and then come out and say, oh, we were robbed by the ref. Come on, man. How do you think Canberra fans felt after that grand final when the Roosters won? They would have felt robbed. Just saying. Even though that call in the grand final was the right call, the referee did stuff up with the six again. The Raiders fans felt robbed in that grand final. Even though the Roosters won and the call was right, Roosters fans sort of, it works both ways sometimes. You win some close games by 50-50 calls. You lose some games by 50-50 calls. It's part of the game. But look, I thought the Roosters were really poor. I thought they were really poor. Their attack is so shit. I don't know what their attack's doing. I don't know what they're doing at training, man. They got to work out how to get Tedesco in the right position, how to get Joseph Manu the ball at the right time. Yes, Manu scored 2 tries, but you go back and watch that whole game in their attack. That Manu gets the ball at some weird times in the game, man. Keary, Smith, they got to work out the combination there. Who's the dominant half? Who's the other, who's the one that's going to be the most dominant one? Who's going to stand back and do all the other stuff? Yeah. This game was okay. It was entertaining towards the end because it was a grandstand finish, but overall, a very mid of the table type game. Canberra did well to win. They stay in the 8 for now. Roosters, 7 wins, 8 losses. Roosters in a bit of trouble for me. In a bit of trouble. If they get beat by Manly next week, God, I don't know where they'll go from there. Like, this loss for the Roosters is going to hurt them a lot. But if the Roosters get beat by Manly next week, I have no idea where the Roosters will go from there. I want to have a look at the Roosters next couple of games, actually. So next week, the Roosters, obviously, they play Manly at Brookie. And then in round 19, the Roosters have the bye. Then they play Melbourne at the SCG. Interesting run of form. And for the Raiders, well, they play the Gold Coast Titans next week in Canberra. Then after that, the Raiders take on the Dragons at Wollongong. And then after that, who the fuck they play round 20? Round 20, they play the bye, of course. All right. Well, my player of the game from the Roosters-Raiders game, it's a tough one for me to pick because there was a lot of good players for the Raiders tonight. There really was. I thought Jack White really stood up tonight. That was his best game in a while. So I'm going to give the man of the match to Jack White. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up the Sunday football review for round 17 of the NRL. If you enjoyed tonight's review, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have a phenomenal Sunday night. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the team of the week with Nathan, along with another video tomorrow night of some sort. But anyway, guys, have a phenomenal evening. See you guys later. Full time in these results on Sunday football. We got Titans 18, Broncos 12, Cowboys 31 over the Rabbitohs 6, and the Raiders 20 over the Roosters 12. Have a good night, everyone. Go the Cowboys!